What's up, y'all? Come on into the Darion LH show. We are continuing our series about pivots, right? Talking to people who've just pivoted in their lives. A lot of you guys just want to know what their experiences are, and I'm appreciating hearing about it as well. So, of course, I couldn't do this series without bringing my girl Nicole F. Smith to join me here.
Whoop,
Nicole,
whoop.
thanks so much for being here with
Oh,
me.
again, thank you for having me.
Again, you're back
Again, no, I love
again.
it. I love it. This is just, I love it. It's so much fun.
Yes, but I know we've talked a couple times just off camera, of course.
Yeah.
And you've really, spoke about, how much you have pivot in your life, especially coming out of corporate America.
Yes.
So let's just get right into it. So
Yeah.
just kind of tell me, what were you doing before you started pivoting?
Yes. So I have been in the corporate space, or I was in the corporate space for 26 years. My background is human resources, learning and development, leadership development. I have a little bit of event planning, only because with being in education, I would help with conferences and so forth. So sometimes it was all hands on deck. So my background, I have a breadth of background. I've been in a variety of leadership positions. I think the largest team I ever had was 12. Whew. And so I was in that corporate grind, climbing that proverbial corporate ladder that everyone says you have to climb up. And I realized it was a jungle gym versus a ladder, because sometimes I had to swing, different directions to get to where I wanted to be. I had even taken a position down. I got a less pay.
Trying to go back up?
Trying to go back up to get to where I wanted to get to.
So what was like your long-term goal?
Oh, I was going to be in that C-suite. I didn't even think about like being a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but just in that C-suite, being able to contribute to the strategy, executing the strategy, the bottom
Like
line.
leadership or?
I was in learning and development, human resources. So
Gotcha.
even like a chief HRO person,
Gotcha.
or someone that gave input into the strategy to help build the bottom line of the organization, looking for some of that type of position. And yeah, it didn't it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And yeah, we could talk all day about why it didn't happen, but then I realized that I truly had an entrepreneur zeal, and yeah, decided to jump out in 2019, 2020. 2019 is when I said, okay, I'm going
Was it
to
like
go for it.
a click though? And how did you define your success at that time?
Oh,
Like,
good question.
what was your idea of it?
So the reason why I say I didn't get into the C-suite was because I'm Gen X. 2008, when the economy crashed, at that time, baby boomers decided or needed to stay in the workforce longer because it crashed everything. Housing, 401ks, everything. So baby boomers decided, oh, we're going to stay here for a little bit. And I was like, oh, Christ. Because it was me moving up as the baby boomers were moving out. They were retiring at almost like 20,000 a day. So it was like, okay, I'm going to move into their seat, right? And then the millennials behind me would come up and so forth. So because they stayed a little bit longer, I kind of got sandwiched in between the millennials and the baby boomers. And it was, hey, Nicole, do you think you could teach one of these millennials, how things work? What? Okay. And then I noticed that they were promoting the millennials over the Gen X's. So we were kind of sandwiched.
For pay? Was
No,
it a pay
just
situation or just
it was,
because...
oh, we need a younger, fresh blood. And
Gotcha.
the millennials were that younger, fresh blood at that time. And I was like, ah. And another thing, I was beyond my time in the fact that I focused on people. I really felt at that time that the bigger impact you had on people, the more impact they would have on the organization, right? Be more productive, more efficient. At that time, people were like, no. Task, check the box. Let's go. Money. And I wasn't in that mindset. And so I just always would get told to, not right now, sit down, that type of thing. So I was just tired of trying to shine and people just trying to extinguish my light. And I was sitting in a cubicle one day because I had been working from home for years and decided to go into a corporation and said, I can do this. I can go in a corporation. I can buy new clothes and go into the workplace and be with people. And I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And literally when the younger VP of Learning and Development looked at me and said, "You're so talented. I just don't know what to do with you." And I was like, "Excuse me." At that time, I had HR, I had diversity, equity, inclusion background. I was a master facilitator. I could train my behind off. I've been using learning development programs and virtual programs, learning tools since 1998. I mean, I could do this with my eyes closed, instructional design and all that good stuff. And for her to look at me and say she didn't know what to do with me, I was like, I don't know what to do with that statement.
It's like a slap in the face in a way, right?
I felt like all my credibility was just like, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Well, let's just talk to other leaders and see maybe if you can fit into their units. And I was like, no, that's okay. With me being in human resources, I talked my way into a severance package. And that's when I said, I'm going to run my business full time. But here's the thing.
So was that the spark?
Yes, I think that was the cherry on top. When she looked at me and said, "I don't know what to do with you." And I was like, "What?" Because I knew how talented I was. I knew what I brought to the table. I knew the impact I would make. And I was like, you know what? I can do this on my own. And I can do this on my own. But here's the kicker. I was waiting for permission to walk out. Good question. I was waiting for permission from my husband. We've been married for some time at that time. And I was waiting for him. I would literally call him every day and say, "Can I just quit? Can I just quit?" And he was like, "Babe, it's up to you. How you feeling?" But the reason why I was asking him for permission, because he was my finance guy. He's in finance. He knows the numbers. He can see, where all the money's going and where it's coming in. And I was like, "Can we do it? Can we do it?" And he was like, "Babe, it's going to be totally up to you." And I was like, I wanted someone else to tell me, because if it didn't go right or if I failed, I had somebody else to blame.
You needed someone to blame.
I needed someone to blame. And when I got the severance package, I went home and I just sat there for a second. And my husband said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I was like, "I don't know. I've been working since I was 15. I've been working for someone else since I was 15.
Same.
That's how it's ingrained in us, right? You graduate from college, you get a good job, you work that job until you retire, right? Yeah. And I was like, and I said, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so the spark was, the cherry on top was her saying that statement to me. And I literally said a 4-letter word. I dropped the F-bomb. And I said,
"You dropped the F-bomb."
I'm a cusser. I'm a cusser. I just know when to turn it off and on. I dropped the F-bomb and I said, "This is it." I said, "I'm so tired of this." I just said I was tired of the corporate grind because I felt like I was in a hamster wheel and I was going nowhere. I felt like I was going nowhere. And so I said, if I'm going to be a CEO, I'm going to be CEO of my own company. And my husband and I already had our company established since 2006. It was just like a side hustle, right? So I decided to go in there full time and put myself out there, which is scary as hell.
Yes. I think that's the scariest part is putting yourself out there.
I put myself out there.
And being in spaces that you've never been in and pitching, and talking to people.
About yourself. Yes.
And it's like, I'm not just doing this just to kind of let you know about me. I'm doing this because I need a client.
Right. I need a client. So this is what I'm going to, right. So this is where I'm going to tell folks that, people ask me all the time, I'm thinking about having my own business. And I go, okay, that's great. And my first question is, do you have an exit strategy? And they go, what do you mean? Like, do you have an exit strategy? How much money do you make right now in the corporate world? Right? What's that monthly paycheck look like? Now, how much money now do you need to make monthly in your own business to say, I'm going to continue this lifestyle, or I'm okay with sacrificing a little bit to be able to have my own business? The financial plan of how you're going to pay off bills and so forth, that exit strategy. Listen, I'm not encouraging anybody just to quit. right? You got to think this through. I have my mentor, she had an exit strategy of like 2 to 5 years, I think, and paid off bills and so forth. So when she got into her own business, she had a Rolodex built up because you know people, those people that say, oh, you should do that for a living. You're so talented. Why don't you do that for a living? For a living, not as a hobby. This is not a hobby.
Speaker.
This is for a living, meaning I pay myself, I contribute to my retirement, I contribute to my household, I pay tuition or whatever I need to pay for my children, right? This is not a hobby. This is not a, quote, little business. This is literally, I am a business where I am making an impact on people and for my, lifestyle that I want. And the pivot,
I got a question.
was hard. It was hard, but I did it.
How do you make that distinction? Because I feel as if I have personally even gotten to that point that a lot of people do call me. They want help with marketing. They want to help with, speech writing, or not mostly speech writing, but like, doing interviews. And like you said, like, understand, like, they say that what you just said too, what you just said, like, oh my God, you should do this for a living. Well, actually, I do. And if you ask me one more question, you was going to get an invoice. But here we are.
Exactly.
Because I love you. I'm here for you. But like, this is now my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
And it's like, at least go find me somebody else that's gonna pay me.
Right.
Or something.
Right. Or, hey, Nicole, can I pick your brain? And no. I need people to understand when you are jumping. For me, when I jumped from the corporate space to my own business, I had to figure out how to transfer those skills to my business. You are not starting over. You are literally transferring your skill set from corporate space or wherever you were to now your own business. Okay, so that's huge. Yeah. Your education, your certification, all your experiences. I have over 30 years experience because I started when I was 2. But I have 30 years of experience doing what I do. Yeah. That's not cheap. And so I had to understand not my worth. I know my worth, but I had to understand the value, right? I had to understand the value that I bring to the table. Now, do I have people that, I chit chat about what I do? Yeah, I can give people advice and suggestions and oh, do this. I have girlfriends that I help in their marketing for their business and so forth. But now when it's getting to where I'm spending greater than 5% of my time on your stuff. Yeah. And that's where it gets kind of like, but you're going to have to discern how much you're willing to do pro bono. And how much you're willing to say, no, I have to charge you. Now, mind you, when I do my invoices, if I invoice anybody, if there's a discount, I show the discount on the invoice. Because I need people to understand, again, this is my livelihood. So if one of my services costs $25,000 and I'm only charging you $15,000, you're definitely going to see a discount of $10,000 on that invoice. So you will know. Yeah. So you're going to have to discern.
Like having that mindset, you know what I mean? And even showing them literally, like, this wasn't something that I was just doing.
Right.
That, let me see how much, like later on, somebody asks you about my services. Oh, let me see how much he charged me. Oh, yeah, he just charged me this. Oh, no. That's what the price was, but there's a discount in your invoice. So
exactly. It is important. I actually know someone. I actually know someone when he does do free services, he still invoices them. He just discounts it to where now it says 0. But you're seeing, normally I charge $25,000 for this. I'm doing it for free for you, so minus $25,000, and his invoice says total due 0. Because again, keep it to the top of your mind that this is not a hobby. This is not a hobby that I do. This is my livelihood. And when people talk about exposure, oh, Nicole, we don't have a big budget. We're going to do this for exposure.
Don't get started on exposure.
We're going to do it for exposure. People used to hit me with
that so much when I worked in news.
Listen, I'm already exposed
this is for exposure. I'm on TV every day. Oh, well.
I got my
I'm
own.
on TV every day.
Yes.
I don't need exposure. I'm in front of thousands of people
Right.
for my day job.
Right.
I don't need exposure.
I'm already
And if
exposed
I
enough.
want to do it, like you said, pro bono, if I want to do it for charity, or if I care about your cause enough, then allow me
Yeah.
to do that for you.
Right.
But don't come in with this expectation that I need it for exposure, you know?
Yeah. Or
Just
even if
humbly speaking, you
Yeah,
know? And
well-
I used to feel so bad in a way of declining those because, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, no. Once again, my time isn't free. This is a whole event. You know, I know myself. I gotta look good, so I'm finna be at the suit shop buying a new suit. It costs,
Right.
and once
It
I saw that it
costs.
costs, I'm like, no, Darian, you have to start sending invoices, and they have the funds.
they have the funds, and you don't need to expose me. And one of my girlfriends, she's doing the the Speaking Industry Expo in Atlanta in November, which I'm going to be a part of. She talks about that, how these events will pay big keynote celebrity speakers hundreds of thousands of dollars, but then when it comes to other people that are doing workshops and so forth, or on smaller stages, they don't have a budget. It's for exposure. I'm already exposed enough. I've been doing this, like I said, for 30 years.
Right.
You can hear me when I'm speaking that I'm not liking and and in my words. I speak for a living. I facilitate for a living. So there's no exposure. It's already there. In the 5 years, I want to say it's been 5 years that I removed myself from the corporate space. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. When I got my first client, I was like, oh crap, what do I do now? Listen, my contracts have changed over time. My templates have changed. The tools I use have changed. How I move with people, how I schedule my time, all that has changed, and how I now represent myself. So with that pivot, I have pivoted even in my own business.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that and make sure it still matches who you are, your brand, and so forth. So once you pivot out of that space of that, what I call that W-2, that W-2 employee, that 9 to 5 employee, okay, now when you get into your business, you have to also to be willing to pivot in your own business.
Yeah.
Because to survive your business.
And it's good that you say that
Yeah.
because I think the biggest thing that I've learned, even in like this transition just within my life, is that I think when a lot of people think about going to something else, it's like, oh, okay, I'm a pivot. No, you're about to start pivoting. It's okay. You think
that
it's
was
a
good.
hard? You think it's a hard left?
No.
You about to go around some curves
What?
and go up some
Some
valleys
hills
and some
and mountains.
It's a journey.
It is a
It's a
journey.
journey, and it's something that's going to continue on.
Yes.
You're not just going to do just one pivot. Like you're about to start pivoting. 'Cause
Right.
There's going to be so many different times that when you pivot over to the left, you're like, that ain't right. Guess what? I got to pivot to the
You got to do a
right.
U-turn. You got to do a U-turn and realize, and listen,
Yeah.
and you got to be okay with the ebbs and flows of money coming in. So for instance, I sell services. I don't sell products.
Yeah.
So, listen, May was a hot month for me, but June may not be.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of looking at 3 months and going, how am I averaging out my revenue for 3 months? Yes, I have goals, right? 3 years in COVID was amazing because everybody was in that time of reflection.
Yeah.
And so they were
still
calling
are,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, they're calling me. 2024 slowed down a little bit. I don't know what happened. 2025, I'm ramping back up and I'm putting myself out there. But I feel like I needed that time in 2024 for me to get closer to God.
Yes,
But
amen.
it's a spiritual journey. But also to refine my services, refine my message and my brand, and hone in on what I'm really, really good at, because I'm good at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I have to say I'm good at this. And also to be confident enough when somebody comes to me and say, hey, Nicole, do you do ABC? And I have to be confident enough to say, no, I'm aware of that topic. I could probably speak on it if I tried,
Yeah.
but it's really not my lane. So I know somebody who is. Let me connect you with Darian.
Yeah.
Right? Being confident enough to say that, but also to being confident to say no. Oh, I've turned down some big contracts because all money is not good money.
Amen.
So I like how you say you're pivoting. It's like I'm not healed, I'm
Yeah.
healing.
I'm healing. Exactly.
Yes, and so
Exactly.
it's been a great journey. There are many a times I have literally sat back and said, do I want to go back in the corporate space?
I still toggle.
But right
I'm
now,
early with it, but I still toggle.
I'm overqualified.
Yeah.
I'm overqualified.
Yeah.
I know so many parts of my business. I know the legal part, the accounting part, the finance part, the mailroom part.
Yeah.
The C-suite part. I can literally work in every department probably now in the corporation. I'm overqualified, and I think what would be hard for me is seeing things that could be done better. Processes and procedures, systems and standard operating procedures and all that stuff could be done differently, and it would literally eat me
Yeah.
up
To know
inside.
that you got a job title and
And
you need to stay in that one lane.
and staying that one like that would literally drive me
Yeah.
crazy, and so it just pushes me to push
Do
harder
what you need to do.
and know that I'm what I have, my emotional intelligence products, my EQ impact framework that I have that's registered and trademarked and is a whole ecosystem itself. I'm sitting in something amazing. I just have to plant the seed
Yeah.
and have the patience to water it and nourish it just like you would anything else. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. So, one last question for the people. What's your best advice for someone who is on the edge to start pivoting? What's your best advice for them?
I would confide in people that you truly trust, that may be a few steps ahead of you. So if you have that mentor or you have somebody that is already in business and you can see that they're doing well, ask them. Do not go ask people who are not walking in the direction you want to walk into.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? I see lots of people going back to ask advice from people who are not there, will never get there, and will never even try to get there. So confide in people that you trust that will give you solid advice, right, in regards to that next step. Research the industry. Whatever you're trying to do, research that industry, research your market. Do a demographic market research, do a psychological demographic research, do all of that so you can truly understand who you're trying to serve. What is the impact you're trying to make? Not the purpose. People always go, "What is your purpose?" No. What is the impact you are trying to make? Personally, have an exit strategy. How is this going to affect you, your livelihood, the lifestyle? Because listen, my friends, you are not sitting at the side of the pool with your laptop and your big flappy hat talking
It
about,
is not
look at the
cute. Yeah.
entrepreneurship life. That is
Yeah.
not, listen,
It's great for social media,
it's great for social
but
media.
that is not reality.
I'm working 14, 16 hours a day sometimes. Am I tired sometimes? Yes. Am I joyful? Yes. Is it exhausting, overwhelming? Yes. It's all the emotions. But have an exit strategy. And truly, if you have a spouse or a partner, include them in that exit strategy, okay? Because they're used to your paycheck as well, right? And them knowing that there's going to be ebbs and flows and knowing that they're going to have to contribute 90% at times and because you can only contribute 10, right? So be ready for the grind.
Yeah.
Be ready for the multiple pivots. Take off your high heels, put on your sneakers, and be ready to run in your business and run uphill because listen, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, but I have to say when those days are so good, you celebrate it and you take a breath and you go, look what I have done. This is amazing. And sometimes I forget to do that myself, but I encourage you to do that. But so this is a process of self-discovery, getting to know who you are and being okay with talking about yourself. I have a love-hate relationship with being humble. If you are like, I'm so humble, that's one of my values,
Let it go.
you're not ready for this.
No.
You're not ready for this because you will have to talk about yourself. You will have to brag about yourself.
Yeah.
You have to sell yourself.
Very true.
And one last thing. If you are afraid of social media, because I don't know how else you're going to market.
Go ahead and stay in the court.
I don't know how else you're going to market. You have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you have to go out and meet people and shake hands and smile in people's
And
faces.
dip in DMs that you ain't never dipped in
And
before.
dip in DMs and connect
talk
with
to
people,
people. Yeah.
collaborate.
And just get out.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I have to say, I have in the last 5 years, and other people, my family and friends have noticed too, I have grown so much.
Yeah.
And I love the woman that I am today. I love the human and the person that I am today. And the growth that I wouldn't change it for anything. I wouldn't change it for anything.
So happy for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us for the
Yes.
Pivot Series. How can they get in contact with you for the EQ's Impact?
Absolutely.
Just let them know that real quick. before we go.
Absolutely. You can go on my website. It is the NicoleFsmith.com, THE. Nicole F as in Frank Smith.com. You can go out to my website. I am on Instagram and TikTok, the same handle, the Nicole F Smith. You can go out there and find me there. And my email, Nicole at thenicolefsmith.com.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicole, and talking about how you pivot
Yes.
in life. You got to love that because we're pivoting
We're pivoting
along the way.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us here. We'll be right back here next week with more of the Darian LH Show. Thanks so much for joining us.